Scarcity is a big, big part of it. And I still struggle with scarcity to this day because it's ingrained in me. But at least I'm aware of it now. So I'm aware when it's showing up. For instance, when I started this business that I'm doing now, I again left a paying job to start a business. And I had to stop looking at my finances.
Wow.
I had to stop doing, because I'm a person that tracks everything and knows where everything goes. I had to stop. I said, I'm not even going to look at it for at least 6 months. It ended up being 9 months before I even looked at it. I was just like, I'm just going to do what I need to do to get the business going. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to look at it. And I knew I had the runway and I kind of knew where I was. But for me to be looking at it and like doing everything like I normally would, I would have been so stressed out. That's something that, like I say, I still struggle with it today.
Welcome to the living room. Leave the over at the door. We'll talk it out till it's simple, till it's you again for sure. Like leadership, money, and the names you outgrow. We make space for the woman coming through. Living room wisdom, where your story is your glory.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. Today, I have a beautiful and talented woman with me. Her name is Linda Grizely, and she's a certified financial planner. In the industry, we call that a CFP. And she's also a financial wellness speaker, as well as the creator of the Me Money Method, which we're going to talk about more in just a bit. But essentially, it's a values-based approach to personal finance that helps people feel confident with their money and good about how they spend it. We all need that, don't we? So welcome, 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 Linda. Thank you so much for being here. How are you feeling? What's present for you? What are you excited about for 2026?
Oh gosh. Well, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
This is going to sound silly, but I'm excited about the impact that I'm making and the number of people that I'm reaching with my work. And because that's my purpose, right? Is to help people get more confident with money. And I've got a lot of great things set up already for 2026. So I'm really looking forward to just keeping that ball rolling.
Awesome. That sounds great. And I know that 2025 for a lot of people was a crazy year. So was it for you as well? I just had to ask.
It was a crazy year, definitely a crazy year.
Yeah.
A lot of good things came out of that though, right? To me, every single obstacle that you face is a launching pad for whatever's next. So
Yeah.
lots of good things happening.
So one thing I know about women like us who develop mindsets like the one that you're exhibiting here is that there's probably been a lot of this going on in your life that has enabled you to develop this grit, this resilience, and to be able to see the bright side of everything. And so I would love for you to just share a little bit with our listening audience about your journey. Like, who is Linda Grizely? And a little bit about what your journey has been like up until this point.
Yeah, I like to frame my journey around the money pieces in it because that's what I do.
Biggest lesson. We teach our biggest lesson. Yeah.
My money journey begins when I'm, a preteen and I'm at home and I'm doing work to jobs around the house to make money. I didn't have chores that I had to do, so I didn't get an allowance. I just did chores, and whenever I wanted money, I would do work to make money, and I would negotiate the price that I would charge, right?
Outside of the home, you mean?
No, in the home.
In the home. So okay, home, with your parents.
If I wanted with my parents, when I'm
love
talking
that.
like I'm 10 or 11 years old, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, I'll mow the lawn, you pay me this. I'll, clean the kitchen, you pay me this, whatever I wanted money. So, but I would just make money when I wanted money to spend money. I wasn't saving any money. But I didn't grow up learning any different because that's what my parents did. They just, they weren't saving any money. There was no retirement fund. There was no emergency fund. There was just money coming in and money going out. And as long as checks were clearing, we were all good, right? So that's where I started. Then and very independent from a young age in that manner. Then I was a single teenage mom. So on my own, having a little bit of help here and there, of course, from either my parents or from other organizations. Little bit, I say, because it was very minimal, but figuring things out. And, I'm balancing my checkbook, I'm filing my taxes, I'm doing all the right things, like even before I'm old enough to vote.
All the big girl stuff.
Yeah. So being very responsible with money,
Yeah.
but still not getting that bigger picture because no one was there to tell me about it. I
Mhm.
didn't learn about it in school. I didn't have a mentor. Nobody was there saying like, hey, you're living paycheck to paycheck. And I realized that you're scraping by, but here's how this works. This is why you should do it this way. Nobody there telling me that. So I got married young, got married at 22, had 2 more children, and then was married for 23 years.
Wow.
The first part of my marriage, I handled all the finances because I was the responsible one. The second part of my marriage, my husband handled it because we had inherited some money and it was his family money. So he handled it then. Then I got divorced after 23 years of being married and had to figure it out all over again because now I've got 2 kids still at home.
Yeah.
I'm trying to contain their lifestyle that they're used to at the same time as make enough money to support my solo household with them in it and working in a toxic job. I end up quitting that toxic job, taking out a home equity loan and cashing in a retirement fund in order to go back to school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then ended up in financial services, like without going into a big story, ended up in financial services. So learning about money, now understanding like all these things that I didn't do. So, and getting my CFP and my master's degree in my 50s, like, and then now I'm in a blended marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've been through the single parent, I've been through the married, I've been through the divorced, I've been through the blended marriage, I've been through all the things. And now I know about money, and my goal is to serve all the versions of me that I once was when I didn't know about money, because I would be a lot better off today if I had done things different.
Yeah, and it's never too late. So I would love to just presence a few things before we move on, because
Yeah, of course.
in that short story, there are so many nuances, and I just love, right? I love everything about it, because I don't know how much you know about my work, but I have a framework called the Anatomy of Abundance. And it's a 6-step framework to take people from scarcity to abundance, right? To create abundance in their lives. And what I heard from your story is that it started in scarcity. It was rooted in scarcity. You were creating from a place of scarcity. You didn't have an example of what it looked like to create from abundance. You developed that grit, that hustle, that work ethic, that ability to negotiate for what you needed. You then ended up getting pregnant and having to make a way, right? So backed into a corner in a sense, and not having a choice, right? It wasn't something that you chose. It was what you had to do to survive. Gone through the marriage, which seems like the dream, right? We're taught to get married and have your kids and have your family and everything's going to be perfect. Happily ever after. Yeah, that didn't happen. Even after 23 years. That's insane, right? And so during these times where you're navigating all of these different transitions, I would love for you to share just kind of within yourself how you were feeling. What were your fears? What were you learning? And what do you feel like are the parts of you that developed during these transitions that maybe wouldn't have developed had you had an easier path?
Yeah, there's a lot there too to unpack.
Yeah.
Scarcity is a big part of it. And I still struggle with scarcity to this day.
Yeah.
Because it's ingrained in me. But at least I'm aware of it now. So I'm aware when it's showing up. For instance, when I started this business that I'm doing now, I again left a paying job to start a business.
Yeah.
And I had to stop looking at my finances.
Wow.
I had to stop doing, because I'm a person that tracks everything and knows where everything goes.
Okay.
I had to stop. I had to be like, I said, I'm not even going to look at it for at least 6 months. It ended up being 9 months before I even looked at it. I was just like, I'm just going to do what I need to do to get the business going. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to look at it. I mean, I had a runway. It's not like I was, I had a runway.
Yeah.
And I knew I had the runway and I kind of knew where I was. But for me to be looking at it and like doing everything like I normally would, I would have been so stressed out. So that's something that, like I say, I still struggle with it today. But one of the things that I think was the biggest for me is when after I was divorced and I was struggling and I was in this job that I had a pit in my stomach every day when I went to work. I loved the job itself, but it was like the environment that I was in, and it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized I was actually still going backwards. Like, in order for me to live in the house I was living in, which was the one I could find that I could afford that fit both of my kids' schools, like, so I wouldn't have to change them very much. I was going backwards. So, and that's when I made that decision to quit and take out a loan and go to school, because I was like, something big needs to happen in order for me to move forward. Otherwise, I'm going to be living the same life for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So, and it was a big, bold decision. And it was me breaking through the scarcity to say, you might sometimes hear like you have to spend money to make money, you have to invest in yourself. And so finally those words were like coming into my head, and I was like, I need to do this.
Yes.
I need to do something drastic to make a big change.
Yeah. New decisions for new outcomes. And so how did you navigate then those fears and that discomfort? Because first you had to recognize the pattern, and you recognize the pattern of scarcity. Then you had to kind of make a decision, like, what's going to be the step that I take that's going to change this reality? But then with that comes so much, like your nervous system was probably going crazy. So what are some of the things you did to navigate through that?
Honestly, what I did to navigate through it was just grit and figure it out and push through. And honestly, I still don't think my nervous system is regulated.
Hasn't fully. Thank you for saying that, actually. Yes.
I don't think I've mastered that yet. I'm still working on that one.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because that's really part of the whole conversation. Is we high achieving women, we perform, we push, we prove, we accomplish, we go and we get all this amazing stuff done, but the scarcity and within us and the nervous system, and like, no, it's never enough in a sense, right? And so that's why I was asking, because there's a difference between creating success from a place of scarcity and like always feeling like you're on this hamster wheel, having to hold it all together, and being able to, at some point, soften, allow your nervous system to settle, and start creating the rest of our lives. I'm also in my 50s, I'm 52. And so we have a lot of similarities. But that point where we get to make another bold decision that moving forward, I want to do things differently. And so currently you're still building a business in some manner. You're kind of still in that space of creation and all of that. But I'm assuming that the financial education, the financial resources, and the fact that you've kind of created a new identity in a sense through that knowledge and taking control as an entrepreneur. Do you feel like that has created some sense of grounding and foundation for you moving into your next season?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been in the financial services field now for over 7 years, and I'm staying here. I mean, it gives me the basis of everything that I do is around that. So I have different lines that I do in my business and different things that I do, but everything focuses around the idea that everybody deserves to feel confident with their money and good about how to spend it. And that is the life that I live, right? So it gives me purpose and direction and helps me serve, like I said, the people who I once was. To think about someone who's either, I've been through the maze, and so now the other people that are just entering the maze, I would love to help them through so that they can hit less, obstacles and walls than I did.
Yeah. And at what point did you realize, because you went to college and then you also got your CFP certifications. So at what point in that process, because you do talk about like meeting people where they're at on an individual level and making it not just about the math. So when did you kind of realize that money stress isn't just about the math?
It was working with the clients, financial planning clients,
Mhm.
and the idea that when you're talking to someone and you're trying to get to know them, but you're also digging deep into their finances,
Mhm.
and they have these things that are in their head that they believe,
Yep.
whether it's something that their father told them, something their brother is doing, something that is just generationally ingrained in them or whatever. And me as the advisor can see the picture and can see what's wrong and what the gaps are and what they need to do. And I can tell them that. But just because I'm telling them that and this is what you should do and this is what I see, they don't necessarily own it and do it
Mhm.
because they have all this other stuff in their head that they're thinking about. And
Yes.
so this is what opened my eyes to the idea that there's this whole behavioral side and personality side to finance and money.
Mhm.
And that's what got me started digging deeper into that and learning more about that.
Yeah, and I admire that. I don't know how much you know about my story, but I lost my husband to suicide in 2009, and he had a financial brokerage. And so when he passed, I took it over, but I had so much fear of money and so much scarcity and all of that. Like I ran away from money. I ran to that marriage because I'm like, yeah, you can handle that part, right? And then here you go, it's dropped in my lap. And my experience for the time that I was active in the business, I'm more passive now, was the same thing, is that it's so much more than just the numbers. And it's amazing how many people actually have a lot of money. It's some of the people with the most money that have the deepest scarcity. Has that been your experience?
Oh yeah. I mean, so there's money personalities. Everybody has one,
Yes.
and it's no one is specific to any type of person.
Mhm.
So you can be a person with a lot of money and still be, a security seeker. You can be a person
Yes.
with no money and still be a risk taker. You can be anywhere on the spectrum or levels here, but it's just a matter of understanding who you are because there's no wrong money personality.
Yes.
You just have to understand who you are naturally and then work with that. And
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing is
Mhm.
understanding, and doing introspection, understanding what your internal obstacles are, right? What are the things you're telling yourself that might not be true? And then how do you naturally interact and just paying attention and noticing that?
Yeah, and would you say, because I always say that entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey, like within itself. It's a personal development and spiritual journey. I've been on this entrepreneurial train for like 30 years. My God, like basically it's forever. But I would love to hear your perspective on that because not only is the transitions that happened in your life, a portal into personal growth and transformation, but the business taking control of your destiny, making new decisions that might seem really crazy to other people, and just really owning who you are and who you're meant to be in the world. So can you just shed a little light on that for us, but also tie it into like how you came up with this me money method? Because I'm sure it was your experience and your journey that shaped that.
Yeah, of course. So I have recreated myself more times than I'd like to admit. I have started businesses, sold businesses, closed
Mhm.
businesses.
Yeah.
I really feel like this is the first time some of the things I did were fantastic. This is the first time I feel really, truly aligned and like I'm really living my true calling, right?
Yes.
Some of the things I did were fantastic. And like some of the best times in my life were when I owned my own businesses, different types of things. But right now I really feel that. So my me money method, this came about because of another personal story. So I already have this interest as a financial planner of looking at clients and figuring out like why they're responding the way they are and trying to help them understand what their thoughts are and how to reframe the things that I'm saying so it fits them. Anyway, so there's that part that I'm already super interested in that. But it comes a point where I'm having a conversation with my husband about, spending, and there's no argument. It's just like, he goes on all these trips, these guys' trips, fishing trips, golf trips, whatever. And I'm like, that you're spending like, whatever I said. And he said, oh, it's not that much. We get a cabin with the guys and, we all split it and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you have a boat and you pay for the boat to store it, to gas it, to insure it, to get plates for it, to get registrations for it. You're spending, money on gas to get back and forth, wear and tear on your car. Like there's a lot that goes into this that you're not plunking down, a couple grand to go on an all-inclusive vacation.
Yeah.
But when you add it all up, it adds up. So I said, I'm putting you on a budget. I'm going to give you this certain amount of money for every paycheck you get. And you have to live within the means of this money. This is the only boundary that I'm giving you. And so you have to save how so that when you want to go on the trip, you have the money saved up for the trip. Otherwise, you spend the money, You can't ask for more. And this is for anything that is just for you only. Okay. So anything that I'm not involved in, you have to use your own money for. And he said, well, are you going to give yourself the same amount? And are you going to do the same thing? I said, sure, I'll do the same thing. I'll do the same amount of money. We live under the same roof, same lifestyle, whatever. We'll do the same exact thing. Now, here's the thing. I already knew how much money he was spending because I track everything. So I already knew that I was giving him like enough. Like he wasn't going to be, feeling whatever. So I asked him, I don't know, a month or two later, like, how's it going? Because I was concerned that he was going to feel restricted or that he was going to feel like I was controlling him, which is not what I wanted. My whole goal was just to have him be more aware of how much money he was spending and realize the true cost of like all these things he was doing. And so he said, I said, how's it going? He said, oh, fine. I'm like, well, tell me more. And he's like, oh, I'm just making better choices. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, tell me, what are we talking about here? Better choices. I'm liking the sound of this. And he said, well, I saw this golf shirt that I wanted and I didn't buy the golf shirt because I thought if I spend the money on this golf shirt, I won't have the money for the golf trip.
Yeah.
So he said, I didn't buy the shirt. I said, well, do you feel, and keep in mind, he has a closet full of golf shirts. He doesn't.
Of course.
I said, do you feel bad that you don't have the golf shirt? He said, no. And I said, do you feel like you want to go back and get the golf shirt? And he said, no, I don't need it. And I said, but if you hadn't had that boundary of this money, you would have bought the golf shirt and you would have gone on a golf trip. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I've just done both. So he didn't need the shirt. He didn't even care about the shirt, but it would have been an impulse buy that he would have bought and he didn't.
Yeah.
Like, fantastic. Okay, so he's making better choices because now he has to make decisions intentionally with his money, which he didn't have to do before.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel restricted. He doesn't feel controlled. Everything is good. Like, awesome. Okay, now flip the script over to me because I was the person who felt guilty every time I spent money on myself. I was the one who would say, I can't afford to go on that girl's trip.
Yes.
I could justify, buying 10 things for $10, but I wouldn't justify buying.
Sound like my mother. Yes.
For $100.
They were only $10, so I got 12. Like
12. Yeah, exactly. So I had this mindset, right? And now that I have this money, I have money that I'm allowed to spend on myself.
yes.
So, I'm sitting there one day and I'm using these little packets of the space stuff that I got on like free samples. I'm like, this is amazing. My face skin feels so great. And I'm like, I would never spend this much money on myself. Like just thinking in my head.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I have the money.
Right.
It's already set aside for me. I'm going to buy this stuff. And I did. I bought like the whole thing. I bought the day, the night, the whatever. And so I have this whole face regimen now that I love. And I'm in my 50s. And let me tell you, when I was in my 20s, I would put this little face serum on my gift list every year. And my mother-in-law at the time would buy it for me. And she'd be like, I feel so weird buying this for you because you're like 20 something and you're asking for this face serum. But the deal was I would never justify spending that money on myself.
Yeah.
Now I'm justifying spending money on myself because it's already set there. And tell you what, I'm not spending $10 on 10 things. I'm waiting and getting the $100 thing.
Yes.
Because I don't have to justify it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm looking at this whole big picture and I'm like, my mind is already blown because My husband has his money for him and he's making better choices. I have my money for me and I can finally spend guilt-free.
Yes.
And now the other thing that adds a whole nother layer to this is that I did not know that there was this tension in my mind about the spending, because he was going on all these guys' trips and I wasn't going on any girls' trips.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt some tension there that I didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I have the money saved, and if I wanted to go on a girls' trip, I could. I could go if I wanted to. And even if even if I decide not to, the money's still there, and I don't feel bad if he goes, because we have the same
Mm-hmm.
we have the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So what we decide to do with it is what we decide to do with it. If I want to go spend a $1,500 on a designer pair of shoes, which I won't do, but if I did, if that was me, I could do that, and I wouldn't have to answer to anybody. I wouldn't have to answer. No, not that I was answering to anybody before except myself. You know what I'm saying? So this is how me money came about, because I was like, oh my God, this is my money for me. It's me money.
I like it.
And I started having other people do this because for women, mainly, it gives them permission to spend money on themselves guilt-free. But not all women are like that. Some people are more spenders. Again, this goes into your money personality. So I have people do a money personality quiz, and that's how we get their money personality, and it explains how me money helps them. But that's the whole idea behind it, is understanding what your personality is and how you're interacting with it. So, and then having this container of money for yourself so that you can take care of yourself without feeling guilty. And I look back to the versions of me, like, say, for instance, my teenage mom me. I'm not sure I'm not saying I never spent money on myself, but I definitely was probably putting myself last my whole life, pretty much, when it came to money. But just having that allotted money of self-care would allow me to spend money on myself and probably make better decisions, because instead of buying the 10 things for $10, I'd spend and get the $100 thing,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my long story about how the money came about and all that.
No, it's wonderful. And when I hear it, of course, I hear everything through the lens of the anatomy of abundance. Step 1, who are you? So you had to really learn who you are, identify, which is step 2, identify the areas that could use improvement, right, in regard to the finances. And this is what you do with your clients as well. The third step is sacred self-care. You said it yourself. This is a system I created, and it's like sacred. Well, you didn't say sacred, but you said self-care, right?
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
don't typically think of money when they think of self-care, and it's a huge component of taking care of yourself. And then I won't go through all the steps, but in the last 3 steps of the framework, the other powerful piece of that is creating systems to support the life you want to live. And so for you, that was like your me money system for yourself and your husband, which for you gave you permission to spend money. And for your husband, it actually gave him an awareness so he can be more intentional about the spending. And so I just think this is all so beautiful. And if it weren't for your journey, the ups and downs of your journey, you may or may not have landed in that space and be doing this work in the world. So I think that's stunning and beautiful and amazing. And it just shows that we all have a purpose here, that everything happens for a reason. We say that, but really leaning into it and being an inquiry, like why am I on this journey? What am I meant to learn, and what am I meant to teach? So it sounds like you've embraced that. So in our Sovereign CEO Collective, we talk a lot about reclaiming agency over our life, our mind, our body, our spirit, our finance, right? So when it comes to finances, where would you say that you see, specifically to women, because our audience is primarily women, where would you say that you see women giving their power away most?
Well, they give it away in a couple of different ways. Number 1, avoidance. They give it away by avoiding money, avoiding the hard conversations, avoiding looking at what it really looks like in planning for now, planning for the future, all that. So I think they're giving away their power there. The other thing is that in a lot of relationships, especially with people of our generation, is they might handle the everyday finances, but the longer term planning and investing, they let go to the other person. And there's a disconnect because they have to coordinate together. You have to understand what's happening today, and you have to understand what's happening in the future. And when one person is focused on the day to day and the other person is focused on the future, there's not harmony between them.
Mm-hmm. So there's a relationship, is what I'm hearing, that we each have our individual relationship with our money. And then when we come together in partnership, there's a gap there, I'm hearing, with a lot of people where maybe they're not collectively in relationship with money in regard to the today money and the future money. That's
Yeah.
really good. That's a gap that probably many of us need to fill, that we've unconsciously been trying to navigate and didn't even see what was going on. But that's true. It's almost as like powerful or important as the difference between personal finance and business finance, right? Like, to me, that's also two big learning curves. Today money, future money. Wow, I love that. I've actually not had that brought forth on one of our podcast episodes before, so thank you for that. That's beautiful. And then I'd also like to talk to you about shame, because I know we as women, we navigate through a lot of shame, and it's specifically around money. So how would you say that you support your clients in navigating different shame so that they're not bypassing, they're accepting responsibility and being able to move forward, not using that shame as a reason not to take control or get educated and things of that nature?
There's almost always shame that shows up. I say almost. It probably is every single time.
Yeah.
There's some sort of shame. That
I have
shows up.
too much. I have too little. It's never ending.
Or I should have done this. I should have done that.
Yeah.
Hindsight is always better, right?
Yes.
It's always, you're looking back and you know what you should have done. So it happens with money. It happens with everything. But for some reason, people look at more badly at it with money. Anyway, I think the biggest thing is that I say I'm a money coach and a success coach. So life, success, money, all that together. And the idea is that when somebody comes to me and they're ready to do the work, it's not about what happened before or where they are. Like, it's where they are now, but it's not what got them here. The only reason it's what got them here is because we need to understand what behaviors got them here.
Yeah.
But the whole point is to move forward. So none of that matters anymore. It doesn't matter that you didn't save. It doesn't matter that you had to file bankruptcy. It doesn't matter that you have debt. What matters now is that you're showing up and we're going to figure out how to get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we might need to understand behavior patterns, but we're not going to ruminate in all that other stuff. You showed up and we're ready to go forward, and that's what's important.
I love it. Thank you for that. So as we round out our conversation here today, I do have one more question for you. I'd love for you to speak to the little girl in all of these women that are watching this podcast today who may have not made the best decisions, might be navigating some shame around money, and they want to make changes, but they're not quite sure how to take the first step. What would you say to those little girls inside?
I would say this. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And my advice is to think bigger. But in order to think bigger, you have to go inside first. That's my advice.
I love it. And do you have a specific book or resource that you would offer as a first step? I know for me, my first exposure to personal development and all of that was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I had no clue the portal that it would open up for me. Is there a book or a resource that started you on your path?
There is. The book that started me on my path was actually a John Maxwell book, The 21 Laws of Leadership, Infutable Leadership, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's the book that opened my eyes. I went to a mastermind on it. It wasn't just reading the book. It was somebody having a conversation and immersion in it. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from that experience was books became my mentors, and I started reading all kinds of self-help books, but also how important it is to put yourself in rooms where
Yes.
people are thinking bigger.
Yes.
Get yourself in the right rooms.
Yes. And those rooms could be physical rooms, they could be podcasts, they could be books, all of it. And literally, if I could attribute my journey and my quote unquote success to anything, it would be the same thing. Books, getting in front of the right people, different people with bigger mindsets, bigger vision. That really is the key to success. And it sounds sometimes a little hokey and like, oh, yeah, cliche. Everybody says that, but they say it for a reason. So do it. So, as we're wrapping up here, I want to thank you again for joining us and sharing. But I also want you to tell us, for our listeners, we're going to have all your information in show notes, but where do you hang out digitally? Like, are you on social media? Where's the best place to connect with you?
The best place is LinkedIn. I'm on there the most. I
Okay.
have a profile on all, I shouldn't say all, but
Yes.
all the major social medias, but I
Yeah.
don't necessarily hang out there.
We don't show
LinkedIn is
up
where I'm at.
all of them.
My content goes to all of them, but I'm not always there. I'm
Yeah.
on LinkedIn though regularly, so they can find me
Yes.
there. And the best place to find all that is just at my website, which is
Mhm.
lindagriz.com, LINDAGRIZ.com.
Yeah.
Left off the last part because nobody can spell it right, so might as well just make it easy for everyone.
Exactly. I love it. Well, like I said, we'll also put this in show notes. And I just have one more niggling question that's coming up for me. And that is that I'd love to know, like, come the end of 2026, what's your vision for something new, something different that you'll have accomplished or an impact that you've made by the end of the year?
Oh gosh. So I've been doing a lot of financial wellness speaking,
Yeah.
and I have created some talks for workplaces.
Okay.
Mostly I've been doing talks to women's groups, but so my goal is to get in front of broader audiences.
Okay. More visibility, stepping into this new space of not only teaching, but leading, it sounds like. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank everyone else for joining us on another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. Don't forget to subscribe and share your favorite episode. And please leave us comments. We love comments. We love feedback, suggestions. We want to know what's on your mind and how we can support. So, with that, we'll see you next week, same time, same place on Living Room Wisdom. Have a great day.
Welcome to the